The air inside the cave mouth is stagnant and smells of old dung and cold iron. Outside, the wind screams a warning of the approaching winter, driving ice crystals into the faces of the Neanderthal clan. They are the people of the wolf, and they stand at the edge of starvation. The Great Valley Cave, their only viable shelter against the coming deep freeze, is occupied. Within the cave's black throat led the true kings of this ancient earth, the Ursus spelaeus, the immense cave bears. Their occupation is a death sentence for the clan, forcing them to brave the open, snow-swept slopes. The leader, Krog, gestures with the massive, scarred hand that grips his spear. The males move forward. They carry the finest weapons their flint snappers could produce. Sick, sharp Mousterian points hafted onto heavy ash shafts. Their previous attempts have ended in bloody retreat, but desperation demands they try again. They move on all fours into the semi-darkness, their heavy bodies low, relying on stealth that their brute strength usually renders unnecessary. Krog tastes the air. The musk of the bear is overwhelming, the stench of vast, untamed power. They find the lair deep within a side chamber, where three enormous shadows stir, a sound heard to nearly grown cubs. The charge is explosive, a burst of rough physical commitment. Krog bellows, drawing his spear first. It hits the soul's shoulder with a sickening thud, but the thick muscle shrugs the point away. The bear roars, the sound like rock grinding rock. Amplified by the cavern walls, it is a terrifying, physical sound that crushes the air from their lungs. One of the cubs, already the size of a large bison, swats a hunter aside. The man's ribcage cracks, his body flung against the cold stone. This is the brutal reality of life million years ago when raw strength meets intelligence without sufficient technological leverage. Krog sees the futility instantly. The spears are merely irritations against this Pleistocene megafauna. He screams the retreat. They drag the broken hunter out, their breaths ragged, their muscles trembling not from effort but from primal fear. The bears do not follow. They do not need to. They know the people of the wolf cannot breach the walls of their lair. The loss is grim. One man severely wounded, 2 spears shattered, and the realization hammered home that the cave is unconquerable by conventional means. This confrontation is a profound emotional turning point for the clan. They retreat to a temporary, shallow shelter. The injured man groaning softly. Krog sits by the fire, his jaw set. He stares at the flames, watching the shadows dance. How does one defeat a wall of muscle and bone that weighs more than 10 men combined? The clan's existence now depends entirely on finding an answer that does not involve spears. They have failed at the test of brute force, a test their human ancestors had relied upon for generations. They must now rely on something quieter, less certain, and uniquely human. The scent of blood on the wind draws minor predators, hyenas whose distant red calls taunt them from the darkness. Krog looks at the injured hunter, at the frightened faces of the children, and knows the snow will bury them soon if they remain here. The great war for the cave must be won, but the next attack cannot be one of strength. It must be one of wit. The days that follow are a slow, grinding attrition. The wounded hunter's breaths are shallow, a constant, rasping reminder of their failure. The cold deepens, seeping into their furs, into their bones. Every task of their prehistoric life is now burdened by a sense of impending doom. They are a people cornered. One of the younger males, Turok, works a deer hide. It is a thankless, repetitive job, scraping away the last bits of flesh and fat. He has draped the heavy, which came over a massive, hollow log that was too rotten for firewood but served as a crude workbench. He pounds at the edges with a smooth, heavy stone, trying to stretch it taut. The work is frustrating. The hide stiffened uncooperative in the freezing air. His strikes become harder, angrier, a rhythm of pure physical exertion against a world that will not yield. But something unforeseen happens. The stretched hide and the cavernous space within the log create this energy. This is the accidental discovery of acoustic resonance. The dull thud of stone on wood transforms. It becomes a deep, resonant boom that pulses through the ground. A sound more felt than heard. It is a sound unlike any other in their world, not the sharp crack of lightning or the low rumble of a rock slide, but a steady, powerful, man-made thunder. Terror K pauses, startled by the sheer volume he has created. The other clan members look up from their tasks. Their faces a mixture of confusion and alarm. At the edge of the woods, a young bear, one of the cubs from the cave, now foraging alone, jerks its massive head up. It stops chewing on the frozen roots it had unearthed. Its small, dark eyes are not fixed on the Neanderthals, but are scanning the air. Its ears twitching. The sound is alien. It carries no scent, has no visible form. Yet it vibrates with a deep, unsettling power. Claude, ever watchful, sees the bear's reaction. His hunter's mind, a storehouse of animal behavior, registers the animal's distress. This is not aggression. This is confusion bordering on fear. A radical thought, a flicker of pure intelligence, ignites in his mind. He looks from the bear to Terakai in the hollow log. He barks a single, guttural command. Again. Terakai, hesitant, raises his stone and brings it down hard. BOOM. The sound echoes off the nearby rock face. The bear flinches violently, taking 2 stumbling steps backward. It shakes its massive head, as if trying to clear its ears of an invading force. It lets out a low, guttural growl, not of challenge, but of deep unease. Cobb gestures again, faster this time. BOOM. 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 The rhythmic, low minus frequency assault is too much. The bear abandons its foraging and crashes back into the safety of the deep woods, away from the unseen enemy. A stunned silence falls over the clan. They stare at the log. This simple piece of primitive technology, this accidental instrument, they have found a chink in the armor of Ursus spelaeus. Their spears could not pierce its hide, but this strange thunder pierces its mind. In this moment of discovery, the entire arc of hominid history bends. For the first time, early humans conceive of a weapon made not of flint or bone, but of fear. The war for the cave is not over. It has just begun on a new, and entirely unexpected, battlefield. The work is methodical. The clan, now united by a singular, audacious purpose, becomes an engine of creation, guided by Krog's vision. They find 3 more hollow logs, dragging them from the frozen forest. The women, their hands already calloused from a lifetime of scraping, prepare the thickest hides. This is a new form of tool minus making, an expansion of their survival skills beyond the tangible world of flint and bone. They are crafting instruments not for butchering a carcass, but for dismantling an enemy's will. They stretch the hides over the log openings, securing them with sinew, the tension so tight the skins are like stone. They create 4 of these massive drums, crude but potent vessels of sound. This communal effort, this shared investment in a radical idea, is the very essence of what makes these ancient humans successful. They move at dawn, positioning the drums in a semi-mindless circle around the cave mouth. This is not a hunt. It is a siege, and their strategy relies on the principles of coordinated hunting applied to acoustics. Each drummer knows their part. There is no complex rhythm, only the command to strike with relentless, brutal power. Krog stands in the center, his hand raised. He is not a hunter now, but a conductor of chaos. He gives the signal, a sharp, downward chop. The sound that erupts is a physical blow, a low howl. Unified BOM that seems to tear a hole in the fabric of the morning. It is not just loud. It is a wave of pressure that makes the teeth ache and the small bones of the ear vibrate in protest. They strike again, and again, creating a relentless, low-minus frequency pulse that pounds against the rock face and funnels directly into the cave. Inside the deep blackness, the effect is catastrophic. The sound, amplified and distorted by the stone corridors, becomes a physical torment for the bears, whose hearing is a map of their world. It is pure sensory overload. There is no direction to the threat, no scent, no visual cue, only an all-encompassing, painful vibration that rattles their very skeletons. This is a form of cognitive dissonance at its most primal. The world is screaming danger, but there is nothing to bite, nothing to claw. I confuse. Enraged draw echoes from within the cave, but it is swallowed by the next wave of percussion. The clan does not falter. Their faces are masks of concentration, their bodies moving in a synchronized rhythm of destruction. They are no longer just a clan. They are an orchestra of war. The breaking point comes. The soul appears first. A dark mountain of panicked flesh stumbling into the grey light. She is not charging. She is fleeing. Her head swings wildly, her eyes wide with terror. Her cubs follow, scrambling past her, desperate to escape the unbearable torment. They crash through the tree line, disappearing into the valley, driven from their ancestral home not by spears or fire, but by a force they could not comprehend. A profound silence falls as the last drumbeat fades. The clan stones, panting, their arms aching. The cave is empty. The war is over. They won without a scratch. Their greatest victory achieved not with muscle, but with an idea born from a hollow log. We watched them from the tree line as they entered their new home, their footsteps echoing in the vast, silent space that they have conquered. The empty bare layer is more than a shelter. It is a monument to a pivotal moment in the deep history of the mind. Here, on this frozen European slope, our Neanderthal cousins first weaponized the intangible. They understood that the perception of a threat could be as effective as the threat itself. This was the dawn of psychological warfare. The moment our ancestors learned to hunt not just the body of their enemy, but its mind. This leap, from the physical tool to the conceptual one, is a defining chapter in the story of human evolution. The tools they leave behind for the archaeology of the future will be flint and bone. But their greatest invention was invisible, leaving only an echo. Every time humanity has used sound to control a crowd, to inspire an army, to break a spirit, we are tapping into the same primal current first harnessed by these people. They learned that a perfectly timed rhythm could be more devastating than the sharpest stone, a lesson that has reverberated through every generation since. The universe is built on vibration. Our ancestors were the first to learn how to play its darkest chord. But what happens when two different kinds of intelligence, born of the same root, finally meet on the same patch of earth?